Bear Bryant once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. Everyone has that. It's the will to prepare to win that matters." Week 4 was the proving ground of that truth. Under the weight of tradition and the fire of competition, only the prepared stood tall. Every snap, every tackle, every drive was the result of unseen hours, relentless work, and unshakable resolve. This was more than just a battle for victory. It was the reward for sacrifice, discipline, and heart. This was week 4 of college football. Welcome to Virtual Recoil's college football recap and look ahead into week 5. Be sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget to lock on. Let's get to it. Clemson came into this year ready to make history, and they have achieved that by being 1-3 for the first time in the Dabo Swinney era. I said last week that they might be the "they are who we thought they were" team this year. There is no might about that anymore. By halftime, Syracuse had already put up 300 plus yards on them, and at one point was up 24-7 on the scoreboard. Even after the significantly long weather delay, Syracuse closed up their best win on the year at 34-24 there in Death Valley. This is the part where I really wish I could say it's only going to get better for Clemson. But as all know me, I'm a realist. It'll only get better if you move on from Dabo and stop pitching pennies if you plan on keeping a name in the NIL era. It is safe to say we are far from the week 1 opening where Clemson came in as the number 3 ranked team in the country.
Yeah, Clemson kind of fell flat. And I'm starting to think more and more that in their heyday, and from 2016 through 2018, maybe a little bit into 2019, a little bit, that success they had, it was all built around one single player, and that name was Trevor Lawrence. And the second that they lost their star quarterback to the NFL, to old Jacksonville, Duval, and yeah, let's just say they've lost their identity. I mean, they had some pretty okay seasons, but they haven't been back to their pinnacle of running the gauntlet of the 14 playoff and getting those national champions and everything.
I'm just going to respect the fact that you did not mention Sir Massage Receiver himself as one of the foundational pieces for Clemson's, what was it? Technically the 2010s? Is that what you would call that decade, I guess? Success. Moving on.
I mean, they're not getting any happy endings right now, so either of them, so.
On over into the Beehive State. The Red Raiders took care of business against the Utes yesterday. Texas Tech looks the part and are playing the part of, shocking as it all is, a top 10 team that can represent the Big 12, and not only represent the Big 12, but possibly get some wins in the postseason. The defense, and yes, I am not misreading my notes here, the defense looks stout. Granted, Utah is not someone I consider a top-tier offense or even an above-average one either, but they're a team that will put up your league minimum of 17+. Not this game, though. Texas Tech kept them dead capped at 10 points as Texas Tech would wage on to win 34-10. And furthermore, what's even more impressive is Texas Tech, their freshman quarterback, Will Hammond, came in for the injured Baron Morton, who had thrown 2 interceptions prior to him coming in and getting injured. Hell, I might have to wipe my lenses off because I was sure I read the year was 2025 and not 2008, and Michael Crabtree was no longer playing football. All I can say is Coach Mike Leach, the Pirate, he's pretty happy up in heaven looking down on Lubbock right now.
Yeah, and with the Texas Tech-Utah game, I kind of knew off the bat, I don't even know much about the Utah Utes and everything. It's just something gave me that vibe of they're not a complete team yet. And Texas Tech, I mean, they're not the highest how can I put it? They're not like, oh, they're gonna run the gauntlet to get the national champion, but I believe that they could get one of the lower seeds in the playoffs if they keep this up, especially representing the Big 12. Yep, we're coming for your seat, Kirby.
I'm done.
I repeat, the year is not between 2015 and 2021. I repeat, the Oklahoma's QB is not named Mayfield, Murray, Hurts, or even that crybaby bitch Williams. I repeat, the coach is not Lincoln Riley. The Oklahoma Sooners, and I am not misreading here, are a hard-nosed SEC squad with a tenacious defense and ball control offense that wins games, being led by Coach Brett Venables and that fucking ferocious defense. Now, I will say, Oklahoma's going to have to play tough opponents on the road soon, because all their key matchups have been fought at home between Michigan and now Auburn. And that's where you'll learn a lot about your team. But a stout defense doesn't get affected on the road, so they're okay there. But what does is a little bit of a middle-of-the-road offense. Now, QB John Mateer and co, they answered when they had to yesterday, but like I said, they were at home. Now, do I think they have the it factor? I think they definitely do. They can definitely be one of those squads that comes in and just play spoiler, or not even spoiler, but actually just play to win. No matter whoever's on the opposite sideline of them on any given Saturday. But the big thing is John Mateer, we're going to see a lot about him when they have to go into a Bryant Denny or wherever about how they respond. As for Auburn, penalties this and penalties that, how about you learn how to fucking focus on keeping your quarterback upright? Auburn gave up 10 sacks yesterday, and that final sack was actually the nail in the coffin because it was a safety that wound up giving Oklahoma not only a touchdown lead, but the ball back with damn near less than a minute left to go. Unless you are the 2021 Bengals being led by Joey B, Joe Burrow himself, against a 2021 Ryan Tannehill-led Titans squad, you're not going to win a game giving up 10 sacks and constantly battling behind the line of scrimmage.
To give Auburn credit and everything, they had the lead a couple times in the game and they were scrappy, but like you said, they kept on shooting themselves in the foot. But Oklahoma, I think they might be a good favorite for a SEC championship game.
Yeah, definitely. They said they're going to play Texas and then play Alabama, and squads that are also vying for that spot, and they can run the table for sure to Atlanta. Tell me if you heard this one before. The Nebraska Cornhuskers were just short of a good win. Michigan, operating with the mistakes prone to happen with a young QB at the helm, presented plenty of opportunities for the Cornhuskers to capitalize on. But Timu Patrick Mahomes had the same quality of a gameplay that Soldier Boy's console has. I really don't know what deal Nebraska signed with the Devil after their last national title in '97. But I think nowhere deep enough in that contract did it ever state they'd have to go to the Big Ten. Nebraska has just been a husk of what was a corn crop 28 years ago and find themselves just being a field of ash most teams in the Midwest and Northeast have to walk through. The team almost does just enough to give you the illusion they're going to do the thing. Then right before doing the thing, have short-term memory loss of what they're even doing there in the first place.
Nebraska, I have, like you say, they're doing Nebraska things. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen Nebraska go up against like an Ohio State. They have a chance to beat them, and then they just like, you know what? Nah. Here you go. Here's the ball. Score against us. And I can't tell you how much it annoys me, that little great value brand Timu Patrick Mahomes wannabe. It's like, he even has number 15 on his jersey, and it's like, make your own identity, dude. Don't copy off of someone else like that. I mean, it's good to have inspiration and everything, but like doing like a Temu version of Patrick Mahomes is not gonna make you good.
As for the other squad that was on the other sideline, you survived. And I'm being nice about it, describing it that way. Looking at the rest of their schedule, there's no reason they shouldn't be 10-1 heading into rivalry week with Ohio State coming in Ann Arbor. I say that again. There's no reason why you should not be 10-1 on rivalry week. Heading over to the Show Me State, Mizzou showed the college world all right. They showed the college world that the Gamecocks have a case of the whiskey talons. Coach Beamer can't get them up for nothing. I guess the team's equipment guy stopped the order of hymns as not mixing it in the Gatorade because the team looks completely uninspired after last week's game against Vandy. There's no urgency to be found on defense, and the run game for SC is completely out of commission. They finished the game, and this is no joke, they finished the game with -9 rushing yards. -9. Passing, they had 302. But you cannot expect to win games without at least being able to hand it off in third and obvious situations to get the yards necessary. Mizzou was the total opposite, as they would run a mud hole in South Carolina's ass with 285 yards on the ground. Tigers find themselves at 4-0 with a big game coming up, having Bama come to Columbia after a big Georgia game. Pending the result, they might catch them sleeping to get a signature win. More to be seen out of Coach Drinkwitz's squad, whether they're ready to take the next step.
Me personally, I like Mizzou this year, and their quarterback, Bo Prabula, who should have been starting with my Nittany Lions, but no, we wanted to keep Drew Aller and everything. But yeah, I'll leave that a discussion for another time. But he's doing what Mizzou needs. He can run and he can throw the ball, but also he has the right players around him to get the job done, as we've seen in this past 4 weeks. And I'm kind of disappointed in South Carolina, because after that week 1 and week 2 games, I was starting to think, oh shit, South Carolina might have some life in them. And then, like you said, after that Vandy game, they've been deflated.
Lenora Sellers has all the damn intangibles, and I will die on this hill. Lenora Sellers, I think out of all the QBs this year that are actually playing, actually has potential of being something in the NFL. Like, I 100%, I think, can guarantee you that. He is very unpolished, don't get me wrong, but another player was very unpolished coming out of college, and yet he still won the Heisman. His name was Lamar Jackson. He was extremely unpolished coming out of college football, and you know who plays just like him? Lenora Sellers. And I will stand by that, but yeah, no, South Carolina, they are just dead. There is literally just a corpse sitting there in Columbia, South Carolina right now. Let me be the first to tell everyone. Here at Virtual Recoil, we aim to give you accurate analysis, breaking down teams' performances, and an accurate, as we can make it, look ahead to the following week's top matchups. We breached that goal by thinking a certain team from Champaign, Illinois would carry out our prediction of them being the ever-loving piss out of a what we deemed overranked Indiana squad. We apologize for that completely inaccurate hypothesis of ours, because while watching that game, I had an epiphany. My epiphany was, how in the hell does Brett Bielema keep getting coaching jobs? Indiana beat Illinois, a top 10 squad, 63-10. To throw even more shit on the pile of manure known as the Fighting Illini, there was torrential downpour throughout the whole game. So it was a nasty game that a lot of times when teams have to play in that, the games do relatively, the scores do seem to close up. Now, Illinois, you are this week's winner of a new positional award. You'll be this week's caretaker of the piss corner because of your piss poor performance, followed by your shit effort to even make the game competitive. Get the fuck out of my face and tell Brett Bielema to stop walking into meaningful matchups on the verge of a food coma. As for the Hoosiers, we'll see what you do to an Iowa team next week, followed by a fresh out of a top 10 battle on the road Oregon Duck squad the week after.
I was on the road and I kept on getting updates and I was like, there's no way. Then when I got home, I looked up my phone on my ESPN app and sure enough, I saw that score. I'm like, aren't the rankings flipped? Because I was expecting Illinois because they're hot the past 2 games, but hey, I guess all those were flukes in my mind. It's like either that or it's just some stroke of BS luck on the Hoosiers side. But yeah, Illinois, to the piss corner you go. Absolutely disgusting.
I am here to tell you that corner does not smell good. It's not a good corner to be in. Like, that is inexcusable as a top 10 team. Like, I get it, you're on the road. That's inexcusable. You're safe for this week. At least this week. Fuck off. Now, moving on to next week. Week 5 matchups. Boy, do we have a lot of top fucking matchups this week. Whew. Okay. Our first matchup is the Magnolia Bowl. LSU at Ole Miss. Now, I am going to go on the whole tangent here that LSU, as I have said before, has looked abysmal on offense. They have looked lifeless, which is very alarming as someone who not only is not an LSU fan, but like just as a college football person. LSU not having an offense has not been a thing since, well, 2010-ish, that region, when they were more of a defensive team. Ever since Joe Burrow and co. came into the picture, LSU has always been known as pretty much an offensive team. And now the script is flipped. LSU, their defense is hellacious. Damn near, I'd say maybe one of the top squads in the nation, damn near. But Ole Miss, they found themselves a new guy at QB, and he looks pretty damn lethal throwing the ball. I believe Austin Simmons has been replaced by, I want to say his name is Childress. Don't have him on my notes here right now. His name is Childress, and he literally zipped that ball all over the damn place, not only on Arkansas, but Tulane also this last weekend. And it's at Oxford. Give me the Rebels.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the ESPN rankings right now and go with the Rebels as well, because I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's at Ole Miss, and this is probably going to be LSU's first good test because it's a conference opponent and also a ranked conference opponent at that too. And who knows, this might be Ole Miss's first good win because they've had some shaky wins and everything with, let's see, it was, let me pull it up here. They had, they had a little big blowout, Georgia State, big blowout, but they had the close one against Kentucky and Arkansas, and they, blew the brakes off of Tulane. But LSU, they played Clemson, close game against Clemson, but now what's Clemson? Oh, they're utter dog water now. Then Louisiana Tech, then a feeble Florida team, and some FCS squad that they annihilated 56-10. I'm gonna say that's why I'm going with the Rebels, because Ole Miss has played more, in my mind, more valuable wins in my mind, and they're more experienced and everything on that end. So even though LSU has that big number 4 next to their name, that doesn't mean anything. As you know, in college football, rankings don't mean a damn thing until those beautiful, beautiful college football playoff rankings come out.
Now, moving on to our next game. A little bit of a strange one that you wouldn't really think is kind of a notable matchup, but actually it's turning out to be. We have number 15 Tennessee at a barely just unranked Mississippi squad sitting at 4-0 there in Starkville. Now that, as Arizona State found out, is an extremely tough environment to find yourself playing in with all them damn cowbells going off. And Mississippi State, I believe, got shafted. They should be ranked. I think they should be ranked. At 4-0 and getting some quality wins and whatnot, I think Mississippi State should be ranked. But, who cares? It's AP poll anyway, so who cares? But now I will say, though I think that is a very lethal environment to find yourself playing in, I am going to wager that Tennessee has a lot more firepower than Arizona State does, and I'm going to go with the Bulls winning in Starkville. Sorry, Cowbells.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Vols on this one for the simple fact, even though, like you said, Mississippi State's a great stadium and everything, great environment, and Arizona State fell to the Cowbells, but I think after the blunder of that Georgia game, Tennessee reevaluated, if I can speak right, their situation, and they had a great tune-up bounce back game against UAB, doing 56-24. And Mississippi State, they had USM, that surprise win against ASU, and then they beat ALCN, some FCS school, 63-0, and then they put up only 38 points against an NIU squad. So, like I said with Ole Miss and everything, Tennessee has more. They've gone against more sturdier opponents, and they're more battle tested. So that's why I'm going with the Vols.
Yeah, you're gonna have Vols coming in playing, I wouldn't say scared football, but now very cautious football. Because, hey, they already took a loss on the year. So Tennessee knows they don't have much room to now falter. Now, moving on over to the piss corner. You somehow made it onto our Week 5 picks. USC at Illinois. Now, I'm not even going to explain this one. As much as I do not like the guy and everything else, give me Lincoln Riley and co. taking care of business in Champaign. I'm going with USC.
Now, here's my wild pick. I believe that Indiana game was a fluke. And I think if big old Tubby wants to keep his job, and it being in Illinois, I mean, don't get me wrong, USC had a great battle against Michigan State, but I believe USC's gonna go in sleepwalking in Champaign, thinking, oh, Indiana destroyed their hopes and dreams, we should be able to roll over them. I believe this is where Illinois gets their oomph back and they bounce back. Give me the Illini.
The big one. Well, two of the big ones. We have two biggies this week. Number 6, Oregon at number 2, Penn State.
Number 3 now.
Oh, number 3. Sorry.
Yeah. University of Miami in Florida took the number 2 spot because we were stagnant. We played nobody.
Whatever. Who cares? It's AP polls.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Fuck the AP poll.
Yeah. It's a bunch of nerds at some fucking press. Anyway.
Actually, the score and the stats here say otherwise. We have to do this, and somehow Notre Dame should be ranked with 0-2.
I already know this is where we're going to have another split. I am going to have to go with the Ducks here. The only reason why I have to go with the Ducks here is Penn State still has a lot to prove to me in meaningful matchups. Meaningful. And by meaningful, I mean not Boise State, where it was only Ash and Gianti. I'm saying meaningful, and also not SMU, because that actually wasn't even a meaningful matchup. SMU had no business being in the playoffs. I'm talking meaningful being heavyweight against heavyweight. Ali against Frazier. I need to see Penn State actually go blow for blow with a heavyweight contender. And I'm not talking that anemic offense shit that Penn State seems to like to do when it is a top 10 matchup against an actual quality opponent. I'm talking They are scoring points just like the other team is. They are pulling off stops just like the other team is. They're going blow for blow. And the only problem is, what has it been? 2016? And that was the last time you guys really won a meaningful matchup of that sort. And we're saying is you guys weren't even a top 10 squad. You were unranked against Ohio State. And that is the last time I have actually seen a quality win out of Penn State against a top tier opponent. And that is why I have to go with the Ducks, because Dante Moore is lighting it up right now. Coach Dan Lanning is having a ferocious Georgia-style team right now. I just don't know if Penn State and Drew Auer have it in them to take care of it. So I'm going with the Ducks.
And honestly, I'm going with my Nittany Lions for the simple fact that, all those things you said were obviously true and everything, and, Big Game Franklin and everything, go fuck knuckle himself. But this is where the Penn State cream of the whiteout is going to rise to the top. Oh, I'm sorry. This is where the Penn State cream is going to rise to the top. Yeah. The Oregon Ducks are going to come into Happy Valley and they're going to get their ducks flattened or whatever. Oh, fuck. I have no idea where I was going with that. But Macho Man aside. Yeah, there we go. But, I feel like with the whiteout on our side, and if we have a good start and keep that momentum going, and because we cannot have a slow start like we did with FIU and Villanova, because if we played like how we played at FIU and Villanova, oh yeah, for sure, we're not winning this game. But I feel like there's a bit more motivation with this one, and if you remember right, we played Oregon in the Big Ten title game, and it was a pretty, good back and forth game with, Oregon coming out on top in the end. But I believe we can go blow for blow against Oregon, and I believe it's not going to be like, a big dominant win, but I believe we're going to squeak by with a win.
The next big game, the rematch. Alabama at Georgia. I think pretty much everyone who knows me by now, you already know what my pick is going to be. It is by obligation. I have to go with the Tide. And the other reason why I'm actually saying this, I'm not going to say confidently. I'm saying this because, one, I saw the team in person and they looked better than I've seen them actually, honestly, even going back to last year. But the big thing is, the last thing I think Georgia could afford, any team in college could afford, is one, picking up a Bama team that no one has any hope in, and secondly, picking up a Bama team that's coming in ranked, right? Like I said, who gives a fuck about AP polls, but hey, there's still a number by your name. They're coming in ranked at number 17. Number 17. And I'm just going to say, the way Ty Simpson's throwing the ball and everything else, I don't think anybody wants to be playing that offense, especially with a chip on their shoulder. And that is why I think Georgia will also be still kind of reeling from that crazy-ass win they had there in Knoxville last week. Give me Alabama. It's going to be a tight one, and I'll even give you my score prediction. I'm going to go with 24-20. Roll Tide.
All right, I'm going to go with the Tide on this one as well. And pretty much for the same reason that you said, like, hey, Georgia might still be reeling at that nail-biter close win against Tennessee and Knoxville. And also, like you said, too, after that abysmal game against FSU on the first week, they had, like you said, a little chip on their shoulder, and week after week they've been improving and improving and improving. So that doesn't mean just because your team can start 0-1 doesn't mean they could end the season 11-1 easy. So never think week one is going to dictate on how the rest of the season is going to go. And I believe, like you said, it's going to be a close one. It's not going to be a big old school Big 12 Texas Oklahoma shootout where it's like 70-30 78 or whatever the hell. But it's going to be a close one. And I think, since you did a score prediction, my score prediction is going to be Bama 21, Georgia 17.
Yeah, I think it's going to bounce right in that region. And then kind of furthermore, going on your point there, it is becoming, I think, dramatically apparent. Now, don't get me wrong, it still doesn't excuse the piss poor team coordination Alabama had in week 1. But FSU looks like a solid squad. And that is not as bad of a loss as it looked at the time. It seemed at the time. So, more to come. But yeah, that wraps up our week 5 picks and our week 4 wrap up. Thank you, Mr. Sato, for doing this with me.
And we are Penn State, and yeah, let's go hunt some ducks. Yeah.
And with that concludes Virtual Recoil's 2025 Week 4 recap and Week 5 look ahead. Comment down below on who you think will win the Heisman this year. As always, like, subscribe, and don't forget to lock on. See you guys later.